Exactly as I planned it. There it is. There we there we go, folks. That was exactly this where it's supposed to go. Supposed to have the graphic countdown, more graphic, then the show. Hello, everyone. I hope you are all well. LNG, Hulbert Promotions, back in the building. Hulbert House show, very, very late notice. I apologise as always for that, but that was probably. I mean, it's only like it's only right if this is going to be the last of these on the main channel. It's only right we do it that way, right? Maybe I'll fit one in next week. We'll see how we go, but yeah, everyone's enjoying their Wednesday. Dynamite, I've only just realised is like happening, I guess now. So yeah, that's happening. Dynamite obviously is airing its usual time. I'm excited for that. The FTR wrestling, so I'll be locked in, live, and ready to go. We have a lot to talk about. Yesterday, the big LNG gold announcement, and more importantly, honestly, today, Manny the Hooper, his last grappler standing, was posted to the channel. So if you haven't seen that, I try to avoid double uploads because I don't like to overwhelm your guys' subscription deal. If you've not seen the short that we posted today, it's so tremendous. I recommend you pause me, go and watch that, and come back. As I was recording it, we actually went 10 seconds long because I just couldn't fathom the things that Manny was saying and the names that he was saying and the ways that he was saying them. So, yeah, shout out to Manny the Hooper. Go check that short out. It is tremendous. Let me catch up on the chat. I have a couple other things I want to talk about too. But firstly, let's see how everyone is. There we go. Look, Tricky Magician said the same thing. That Manny short was crazy business. Exactly right. Yes, it was. I just need to know what Teal will provide us with Joe getting LNG too. There is no chance, brother. No chance. Yeah, no spoilers in the chat for Dynamite, guys. I don't know either, so don't spoil it for me, or anyone for that matter. All right. We've got the super chats. I'll circle back to them. It only makes sense they get less priority. Right? That's the quick way to do this. Wesley, God bless. Enjoy your front row seats. There we go. Help people through the workday, as it should be. This stuff is supposed to be an escape, I'm told. Speaking of escape, I just saw Trap. Maybe I'll talk about that in a second. I probably won't, to be honest. But we'll see. Some love in the chat. 6-star. We'll talk your contract another time. Need to get 6-star on for one of those last grappler standing deals. That would be tremendous. Could even do a Joshi spin-off one too. We'd get a couple in the cam. Joe, do you have an official statement regarding one Ibu of WrestlePurists retaliation against you? It's sad, you think you make friends in this business, you think you make lifelong, bonds that will live forever. That's the idea, right? And you take one step out the territory, and next thing you know, you're being used for content. It's kind of brutal, like worldwide. And I'll talk about higher pace matches and stuff, and they talk about action. I don't know. Seems kind of woke, to be honest. I'm not sure I can stand by much longer and watch it take place, especially with Eben. And as great Montgomery is Montgomery, but Ibu of WrestlePurists has, I think, gone kind of power crazy, to be quite frank. So I think someone needs to put him in his place. I'm not sure who it will be, though. I think Dynamite just finished. There you go. Was there an illegal stream anyone found of a TV, the satellite feed they used to do for WWE? If so, tell me if it was good. Don't spoil anything, though. The big man is back. Yes, indeed. We're getting a Trap review. I really wanted to like Trap. M Night pops me because he's an increasing outlier, and I wanted to like it. In the first half, I wouldn't have said it was good, but I was kind of popping because it's fun and schlocky. I have to say, unfortunately, however, that I thought the second half was among the worst things I've seen this year. I actually am reeling from it, if I'm real. So if I seem off my game, and again, I really wanted to like it, so I'm not trying to be a hater, as the kids say. So, yeah, I don't have much more to say on that because I don't want to spoil it, but it goes some places. Joseph, you attending anything else this weekend? No, sir. Just the Wembley. I consider Rev Pro. It's just it's a lot, and I'll be exhausted just doing Wembley. That's where I'm at in my life. So yeah, just Wembley for me. But I mean, that'll be we'll probably be in the building for like 5 or 6 hours, which is fine. It's Wembley. I don't blame them for not doing a tight 240. You know. Folks, by the way, if you like this show usually, and you feel confident you're going to like this version of it, please hit the like button. That's what Bob is generally for, but he's not here clearly. Well, not as far as I know. All right. Okay. How are we? Okay, we did that. Big LG talking about how Deep South. Talking about Deep South. Sorry, has me fascinated about pre NXT WWE developmental. There's no Deep South trade tapes really, but FCW in its entirety is on YouTube. Lots of Tangaloa matches to watch. Yeah, pre NXT developmental was fascinating. They're all different. I recommend if you're interested. Brian Myers did a series for High Spots called Developmentally Speaking, and it is superb. Actually, it has some great episodes. Kenny Omega is on one. Gallows is on one with Tangaloa. So I recommend that if you're interested. It was a fascinating time, and they were doing things that people should be in jail for. But yeah, very, very good series. I recommend that. Okay. Okay, Bob. I think Bob is here. He said hello, Joe. Hello, chat. I was wondering why it was like filling up. All right. Wales is lovely. I mean, I've only been to Cardiff and Barry Island too, but it's lovely. The building that Dynamite's in is great. Great, great stuff. So this is a fair description of Trap. A great 4 out of 10 movie. Like, I can't argue with that. Joe, how bad do you feel for not going to watch the FTR? I'm actually quite mad about it. FTR team with Derby. I actually do wish I was there, but here's what it is. You make these choices. I went to see Trap instead. Hartnett is good. I agree. Hartnett's the best thing in the picture for sure. God, he was on fire, wasn't he? James brings out the machine gun, trash talk, working the apron, getting the people. Oh yeah, it was a clinic, an absolute clinic. Did you see the Karrion Kross digital exclusive? No, I did not. Must have missed it. Joe, as a fellow Englishman, are you disappointed in Pete Dunne losing to the Irish on Monday? Absolutely not. I'm thrilled, actually. I didn't know that was the case, but I assume you're talking about Sheamus, in which case I'm glad he beat Pete Dunne. It would be a shame if some sort of travesty happened otherwise. Fan Tony announcing LNG Gold. Standing alongside AEW on the AEW Plus tier of HBO Max. Maybe. Anything's possible. Anything is possible. Tope Suicida in the building. I want to shout out Tope Suicida, who produced. He did the real work. The most of the work for LNG Gold was up here for me, and just like the anxiety and the nerves of like doing something like that was scary, to be honest. I'm happy with how we kind of what we settled on. But Tope edited it. Tope came up with a lot of the graphics, like for example, this beauty, which I just love. There's a couple others. Tope was remarkable in this whole process and had a very quick turnaround. So I want to shout out Tope. Also, the confirmed shoot for all he does on our graphics and such. He had that wonderful one recently where it was like it changed our screen gold. That was awesome. So they're little things that ultimately, once you announce it, all that stuff's like useless, it feels like. But I don't know. I think it's fun, and I think it builds like some sense of anticipation. Is so dramatic. That's so egotistical. But like, it's fun, right? Like it adds something to it for me anyway. Maybe no one else, but I enjoy it. So shout out to both of those fellas. Okay. Tape Machines has made me realize Paul Ellering might have a better gig than Tangaloa. Good call. I'd like to see the paychecks. That's an interesting one. Paul Ellering has got a great gig, certainly. ITV should have aired Dynamite for us folks in the UK. I agree. Wasn't surprised they didn't, because that's a weird. That TV deal is like, It's very useful because it does get them in front of people that aren't going to ever subscribe to Fight TV. But it's weird in terms of like time slots and yeah. Um, okay. Victor will be signing up. Glad to hear it. LNG Gold. Great stuff. Um, okay. Smash the like button. There's Bobby. Beautiful. When the Grin Gold begins, can I request you review great boxing matches featuring the marvelous Marvin Hagler? Just pop myself and maybe you. Not necessarily, but we're open to it, and we are absolutely. Contrarian Alex is cooking up some stuff. He has got some interesting ideas in terms of incorporating shoot fights into LNG Gold. Now, this would obviously be a niche thing. Very few you will give a shit, but it could be a fun little kind of side thing, and it would be a fun deal for Alex and I. So once we get that rolling, then maybe we can just pop ourselves and watch Marvin Hagler fight. I mean, obviously, I'm always down to watch Marvin Hagler fight. There's so many moving pieces, but yeah, there will be some shoot fight stuff coming up. Bobby in the building. All right, now I've finally caught up to that point. Yes, the developmental show is the one that features the Gallows fucked up to death. I guess Jesse fucked up to death story, which is awesome. There is a Tyson Kidd low-key match on YouTube that is good. Write that down. In fact, Prinny, can you DM that to me? Because I haven't got my phone, which is dangerous because that means anything can happen while we're on the air. DM that to me, please. I would like to watch that. Okay. Joseph, as a stupid American, can you please explain the discourse regarding Mercedes breakfast to me? Yeah, so, I mean, it depends what part of it, but basically, Mercedes went to like the worst possible place for breakfast. Which is not to say that if she went to a better establishment, the picture would have looked appealing to a lot of my American friends or Mercedes herself. I don't know. But yeah, basically, the joint that she was at is like kind of infamous for being like a very kind of rough and tough. It's not somewhere you wouldn't take a date there. I'll put it that way. I wouldn't recommend taking Mercedes Monet there. So that's I guess a Brit side of it. I guess I don't know, but I guess the main thing I should say is that I also think it looked appalling. So there's that voice work. Indeed, thumbs up. Yes, indeed, Frederick. Correct. Connor, Joe, what are your thoughts on AEW retiring the Continental Belt and making it into a crown trophy that the winner holds for the entire year until the next Continental Classic, which grants them an auto bid to defend? I think something like that is what they should have done originally. I think the concern would be the way to probably get out of it now is you probably unify Continental with International. And then you just quietly do the pitch you're suggesting for the tournament, Honestly, I wouldn't even go as far as you're going. I would just have it be a trophy. You get a title match, I don't think that would be. I think you can get that over, right? There's some history for that. Tournaments having big trophies at the end that people want to fight for. Like, fuck, man, I think do that. And if you build it up and frame it a certain way, I think that would actually make it much more prestigious than it being a belt. But your idea, I mean, is in the same vein. So, yeah, I definitely don't think they need 4 singles titles. Definitely not. And I'm not even someone who's like, there's 2, like, I don't stress too much about belts. I think 3 is actually like fine for how many people they have. But 4 is a lot when there's not tiers. They're all like top guys too. Mostly, you get what I'm saying. Your thoughts on the 4 corners strap match? I think with a hot international crowd and old school mind with Punk, it could absolutely work. Yeah, it definitely could. It can be great drama. It's like a hard thing to. The difficult thing is that's not established as to like how they do it or anyone does it nowadays, consistently. So Punk actually had to say like that's what they're going to be doing, which kind of comes off lame because it's like a blood feud, right? But yeah, it can absolutely work. With people that know what they're doing, that stipulation can be very dramatic. It's kind of like Escape the Cage in the sense that it's kind of goofy, but like that doesn't mean it can't be exciting. That's the way I would explain it. So I think it can absolutely work. And we will find out on the Bash in Berlin at Grin Along, on the Grinner Circle tier of LNG Gold. There's a plug for you. Is WrestleMania 19 Rock's best heel performance? it's up there because it's yeah. I think it. I'd have to really think about it because like I'm not an expert on his catalog, but what's great about that performance, and I recommend anyone who hasn't seen it, if you go to latenightgrin.com, you can find our watch along of WrestleMania 19. It's one of my favorite matches, Austin and Rock. Um, the reason it's so great from a Rock point of view is just the absolute doubt in everything he does, the fear, the concern that this kind of this monster that he's built up in his head that is Stone Cold Steve Austin by that point. It's just immense. It's such a great match. So, yeah, certainly up there. I saw you watch some Batman movies. Yes, I did. Animated movies, sorry. Which one was your favorite so far? Dark Knight Returns Part 1 blew me away. I thought it was absolutely super. I like Part 2, but I didn't like it nearly as much. I liked how kind of grounded Part 1 was. It was great. I'm going to watch the Halloween one that was released a couple of years ago here shortly because it just like I watched the Batman Beyond Return of the Joker one because that was something I'd seen way back when. I rewatched that, and in a couple of weeks, next week, my brother and I are going to see Batman, the one from the '90s animated series, Mask of the Phantasm, Mask of the Phantasm. Am I right? I won't see your answer until 10 minutes ago, but I think I'm right. We're seeing that on the big screen, so I'm doing some just popping myself, jumping around. So yeah, that's my favorite so far. Was rewatching a little bit of All In from last year. I think this year is going to be wildly different, but maybe in a good way. I do too. I actually think it's going to be a much better show, to be honest. It won't have the novelty of, oh my God, this is a stadium show. Because that's like, you can only once shock people with that visual, right? I think it'll be a better wrestling show, though. I really do. Okay, I'm going to stop here on this Simon comment. We're going to circle back to Simon because we should do these super chats, really. There's one super chat. We should do it. Arve has paid this. He's 17 minutes. He's been standing there waiting for me to get to this damn question. While I've answered things about Trap, I've talked about Manny, I've done everything but. Arve says, on the Elizabeth line from the airport after moving to the UK, oh my God, going through a mini crisis, but Bing Boing's on, so life is good. Well, I hope I can help in any form or fashion. It's now made me feel worse, actually, for taking 17 minutes to respond to you. Hopefully you've not been in the crisis the entire time that I've been talking about Trap, Manny the Hooper, and Batman. Hopefully you've sort of gone past that and now this is funny to you. If it's not, and you hadn't got past that, then I understand this wouldn't really be very funny at all. So I want to apologize, really. But yeah, God bless, brother. Welcome, I guess I should say. I wish you all the best of a good brother. Once fueled the great Meltzer conversation on our flagship program. Okay, here we watch. Joe, thoughts on the SmackDown main event segment. Thank you for the super chat, by the way, Arve. Is Big Ram entering final boss Dwayne level? Only one final boss, but he's godly, no doubt. He's the man. Joe, have you watched The Watchers? I have not. Beast. I'm all in. The beauty of these review shows is if you suggest, so the way it's going to work, my match Monday will be any match from the last month. Fave Fight Friday will be any match ever. Once a match falls out of the last month, it just goes into the other pool, basically. So any match you suggest will be covered, which will surely end great for me. When will Jay Shell be back? Honestly, whenever she wants to be, she's welcome anytime. I'm sure we'll do like a game night or something soon too. Maybe a draft. Quick question. Do you think anyone in WWE got mad at Dom for bringing up Japan to Logan since it's probably off limits on TV? No, I think everyone sees Dom as like their kid brother and they all pop for him. And I'm sure many of them wish that they could also say that. And, I'm sure they popped, honestly. I could be wrong, though. I don't know everyone in there. I don't know anyone in there, really. Do you think the brand split will end when Raw goes to Netflix and SmackDown goes back to where it was before SmackDown Live? I don't. I think you're going to get pretty consistent super shows. But I think they're in a really healthy place right now in terms of star power. So I think they'll be okay, actually. But yeah, I think with USA and how much they're spending on SmackDown, I think SmackDown will remain its own thing with its own assets. Yes, indeed. Hagler Hearns, that could be something. Top 3 favorite MMA fighters of all time. Oh my God, they're all so trashy and all have disappointed me greatly. I'd say Robbie Lawler has got to be up there. Definitely Robbie Lawler. God, everyone I like because I'm the generation that I watched. It's like all of those guys were just. I mean, look at the state of BJ Penn now. BJ Penn would have been on my list, you know. Um, give me, give me Fedor. I love Nogueira. Nogueira was just wonderful. Big Nog, I should say. Yeah, I'm trying to think of vaguely unproblematic people in MMA. Impossible. Hmm. Yeah, I'll circle back if but that whole generation of guys, you know, Shogun, Wanderlei, of course Anderson. My goodness, Anderson was like a. I was watching magic tricks in the cage. It was amazing. This was considered. Any match is accepted for retro as long as I can find it somewhere. Even if I have to pay, I'm more than happy to. Like any match is accepted. But yeah, we did consider a Bob political tier, but it didn't quite go over the line. Can we get an impromptu Alton Kaiser review? Yes, we can. It was absolutely delightful. Ludwig Kaiser is a very good professional wrestler. I want to establish that now because I'm about to talk about Alton a lot. But what Randy Orton has been for this last 9 months is honestly frightening. And if I was one of his peers, it would actually make me mad. He has always found wrestling to be pretty easy. He's always been able to kind of stroll his way to stuff that's mechanically like rock solid and psychologically adds up, even if it didn't necessarily capture you emotionally. He's always been able to do that. The amount he's finding wrestling like easy right now is honestly is outrageous. He he's wrestling matches in such a direct, simple fashion. And as the entire industry shifts the other way and leans the other way, it makes him stand out even more. So whoever match with Ludwig Kaiser, like 15 minutes, a limb work match. You know, you're gonna Randy kicks ass. He looks awesome. He makes it clear to the audience that Ludwig Kaiser cannot beat him in a fair fight, which is what every babyface strives to do, unless you're like an underdog. Then they do an interference because Gunther is still the match they're building to. Kaiser goes to the leg. That's his in. Kaiser then, to his credit, does the best job he can with that space. And I think he did a very good job. It's Orton selling though, right? I mean, that's what's like when he's selling, he's just spectacular on offense and when he's just working to the people. And then Orton makes his comeback, and he only has to take like a step or two out of his comfort zone. Like he does like a middle rope superplex. We didn't even really a superplex, if we're being real at this point. So many people do the big off the top one. It's like, but the people react to it like it's unfathomable because he's trained them. That's a big move for him. So he manages to have a 15-minute match with a mid-card guy, who again, very talented, but a mid-card guy. Not once does he suggest to the audience he isn't ready for Gunther. But he does establish in their mind that he does have an injury, you know, and that's something they're going to use in the match. It's brilliant. It's the kind of 3.5-star match that isn't going to show up at the end of the year on a spreadsheet necessarily, but is like it's just such a professional way to do TV main events. Didn't undercut himself at all, but give the people a main event. He's something else. It would piss me off, honestly, if I was on the same roster. It would make me mad. Okay, Bob. Shouts Apron Bump in the house. I did a guest spot for Apron Bump earlier today. It was posted. TNA Sacrifice 2007 review was very, very fun. Gave me an excuse to watch Harrison Storm, the Texas Death, which was great. Joe, have you been to Waffle House on your travels to America? I don't know if I have, honestly. I don't know if I have. I say I don't know because it's been a long time since that first trip, that Mania 34 trip was 6 years ago now. So, 6. I'll circle back to the Dreamstar Grand Prix. I was on the air when they announced it, though. I'm pretty sure, which was sweet. But yeah, I'll circle back. We have to do the last grappler standing with Joshi's for 6, and then I'll do it too. And I'm sure that would go great. Watched Samoa Joe vs Kofi. Like your thoughts? Liked it. Your thoughts? I don't remember it. It's like the July pay-per-view. I don't remember it being like particularly good, but it might be. I watched Joe and Ricochet yesterday, and the big man was beat up by that point. It was crazy. So yeah, I'm not sure. I'll have to revisit it. I'm watching a bunch of Joe's stuff just because when he's not around, I generally watch his stuff. Like he's not on TV, right? So pop myself This is where I almost landed here. Intercontinental title. Okay. Um, right, there's some Okada talk. Sting and Vader had a great four corner strap match. There you go. Sting and Vader had a great whole lot of matches. Pretty good wrestling pairing, in my opinion. Thoughts on Joe Hendry versus Ethan Page with Trick Williams as specialist referee? Uh, I'll probably be on the air for a grin along for that. I don't think it'll be particularly good, but it might be. I'll tell you, you know what? I'll say this. I'll say this. Where is it? This one. I'll say this. Arena crowd with Joe Hendry will probably be fun on atmosphere. The match, yeah, I think it'll be solid and not very, not much beyond that. But the atmosphere will probably be fun, which will not be of great use to me because I'll probably have it on mute. But still, I'm sure it'll be fun. Okay, I got the Batman deal right. God bless. That's the best one, right? That's the best animated movie. All right. Joey Bing Bong, do you have an outside chance, guess, or hope for an entrant into the Casino Gauntlet? Also prepare to review the greatest hits of very tall Jacob Lee for LNG Gold. Fuck. Okay. Outside chance, guess. Well, I have a couple. So I think Ricochet, which I don't think is outside chance, but I do think Ricochet is going to be in. I think Ricochet. I think Moxley's actually going to win the match. I don't know if that's outside chance or guess. I don't know, but I think Moxley's going to win the match. Other than those two, I presume Shelton is being held for the big angle whatever they're going to do with the Hurt Business or the Hurt Syndicate, I should say. Yeah, that's the couple that come to mind. I think you're going to see a lot of I wouldn't expect tons of guests and outsiders just because I think the point of the match is to get a lot of the roster on, right? So maybe some of the fellas that are working Rev Pro, some of the New Japan guys. I'm not sure who they've booked this year, but yeah, the main thing I guess that I'm feeling is a Moxley win. Batman animated movie talk. Will you guys do any special Halloween content this year on Gold? I remember the Halloween series with Bobby 2 years ago. That was fun. And it'd be fun to do a horror movie watch along with Hooper. That would be very fun. Yes, absolutely. That may just be a thing we do on the channel, we'll be honest. That's a fun thing. We'll just see how October looks because there's always stuff going on. But I would like to do some horror stuff for sure. That'd be fun. I'm a big fan of the season, as many of you know. Okay. Realistic ceiling for Ricky in WWE. Wasn't really impressed with his big matches, saying he's got quite similar ceiling in both places, to be honest. In WWE, who have a clean slate to get over, though. I think if I had a gun to my head, I would say he'll win one of the two the mid card titles. That I almost hate using that term because it's always used in but I think he'll win one of those two, and I think he'll be an act that people like. I'm not convinced he gets over the line as a main eventer necessarily, but he has some advantages, right? So, firstly, the Cody Rhodes thing is real, and I say it lovingly, but that could be very helpful, right? I mean, if he gets pulled into Cody's kind of orbit, that should naturally set up some big business for him. So hopefully that's what happens. I lean towards upper mid card. I don't know what he necessarily wants, right? I think there's a lot of people that think they know what Ricky Starks wants, but he really hasn't spoke on it, and I don't think he intends to really. So I know I see a lot of that stuff, he won't be the world champion WWE, and it's I don't know what Ricky wants to do. Maybe he doesn't expect to be either. He's just trying to roll the dice. That's possible, right? The big thing is, my guesses mean nothing about this because the reality is one of the main stars on Raw is Damian Priest. And now look, I don't mean this is a knock Damian Priest because he's actually having really good matches and he should be very, very proud of his improvement. As an older fella, what he's done is tremendous. But I mean, God almighty, imagine when Punishment Martinez signed, if you'd have told him this, even if you told him Triple H was going to have the book. I mean, it's outrageous. So you never know. You have to buy a ticket. You have to get yourself in the game. Nia Jax coming back was oh, really? And then it was kind of a novelty, and now she's the fucking champ. It's yeah, it's a wild business in that regard. So you never know. I'm hoping it goes well. I'm rooting for Ricky. I like Ricky a lot. He's a very, very talented fella. Um, and I think he has a chance, definitely. Super cool too. Like I think he has a chance to connect with the audience. So we shall see. But if I was to guess, I'd say mid to upper mid card, which is a nice spot, right? If you're involved, it's a nice spot. Always crisis continuing. Okay, sending you love, Harvey. I apologize for getting to that so late and this even later. Um, my goodness, 40 hours traveling. I'd have simply fallen down by now. I can't do it. That tag match from Friday Eva was raving about LNG sponsored wrestler Ange Dawkins was the star. Of course he was. Angela Dawkins is the real brother. Strong Reese Hayes content on our screen. All right. Um, yes, the other YouTube channel is not. I don't want to say over because who knows? I get kicked off like Grin, but it's inactive for the foreseeable because it just seemed confusing. Like it was. So I knew we were going to do the LNG Gold thing, and I knew that Joel Promotions was going to be kind of brought in. So just it made sense. Just pulled the band-aid off in that regard. So for now, it'll just kind of sit there. But it was a fun outlet when I started using that channel. Late Night Grim was like full hiatus mode. It was fun, but yeah, I don't think it will be active for the foreseeable future. Um, I would credit DIY, but Evo's been such a prick that I'm not even going to. I'm just going to just move on. Joe, thoughts on the current CM Punk since he's returned to WWE? I think he's pretty great. His hits heavy, and I think that people are divided on that, and I understand that. But the reality is that whether people are willing to accept it or not, yeah, CM Punk is now like he's just WWE legend CM Punk. That's what he is now, and that translates in a lot of ways. And I just don't know. I don't know how much value there is in still tuning into Punk and expecting him to be like this sort of like wild renegade. I don't know if that's who he's going to be at this point. I could be wrong. I enjoy seeing him on TV. I think his charisma and his presence is always fun to have around. I think he's going to have good matches. I was actually very encouraged by the way he looked against Drew personally. I know that was, divisive as everything he does is. But I think he's very, it's very much a guy who is happy, is enjoying himself. I don't know if he's going to be pushing the envelope creatively or kind of breaking the television, as the great Handwork Reviews once put it. So that's my reading it. I like having him around. I think he's obviously an all-timer. I think wrestling's better for having him in it. So he's fun to have around. I wouldn't expect like this sort of transcendent work at this point, personally. Hopefully I'm wrong. I still think he's doing good stuff, and I think the Drew feud has been mostly good, even if they peaked early. I hope that made sense. I apologize if it didn't. Okay, we're probably like halfway through here, folks, so I apologize I missed your comment. Favorite MMA rivalry, Rampage and Vonderlei. The most violent ever. I mean, even the Bellator fight was like fun, and they were old as hell. So, yeah, that rivalry was insane. Pure violence. Unbelievable stuff. Joe, do you think DC can overtake Marvel in the future in terms of movies? Or is the brand too damaged? Brother, I have no idea. But I want to watch the James Gunn take on these, on Superman and such, just because it intrigues me. But I have no clue. I'm not sure there's a person that's less educated on that topic, unfortunately. I'll say yeah, they can. Fuck it. They live dangerously. Okay, I answered the casino one. The Mugabe fight is great, yes. Got some wine here. I was told everyone was doing the wine deal on Monday, which popped me. I'm going to keep that gimmick going. People seem to like it. Give it a little bit more time. Okay. Did you see the KO stuff from SmackDown? Do you think they'll turn him heel, or do you think this storyline is just a smokescreen to try and distract people from the fact Randy is the one turning in the end? I think the latter. I think Randy is going to convince Kevin to remain a hero, babyface for insider terms, only to use it to gain Cody's trust a little extra before he he turns on him. I think Kevin is actually a smokescreen. I do. I reached the exact same conclusion. I only saw a clip of the SmackDown stuff, but it looked very compelling. Kevin Owens is just unbelievable. Joe, will you be going to Vegas for Mania this coming year? Yes, I will. Myself and Contrarian Alex will be in the building, which is going to be hilarious. Are we getting Coach Hulbert on the page? So maybe, yes, I'm open to it. If you guys want it, I'll do it. That's the way that the YouTube deal is going to work. If you guys want, like, if you want to see something, I'll try my best to make it happen. It's not saying I don't want to go to the world too often because I think it's like it's kind of like a one. It's like a one note joke, you know. I don't want to like. I don't know. Maybe I'm overthinking it. I know people like it, so I appreciate that, and I'm happy to do more of it. But I also don't want it to be like, you know, there's only so much you can do with that. I think. So yeah, it can be there if you guys want it. I'll do stuff for sure. What wrestling pairings do you think overrated and underrated in the ring? I feel like Randy and Cena also got Hanger winning the casino match. Yeah, Hanger definitely could. I'm not sure though. Underrated and overrated pairings. Well, I think we're doing one of them for the grappler. But for all of the lore about their supposed hatred of one another, which I mean, who gives a fuck? I always thought Alexa and Sasha had good matches, and this only came up because we were debating the Green Grappler lineup, and that one's a fun, like a quirky one that they're linked together for other reasons. Bob Lasher and Roman Reigns had two matches. One was on pay per view. This isn't going to answer your question. I'm just talking here. One was on pay per view and was like very rough around the edges. I honestly feel very disappointing. And the next night they had a good match. I didn't ever wrestled again. Overrated wrestling pairings. Overrated. An underrated one. We're staying with Sasha Banks, I would say. I'm sure people know, actually. I get confused what people rate and don't rate now. Everyone always talks about Bailey and Banks as a pairing, and rightly so. But Banks and Becky was just tremendous together. Their match, I actually prefer their matches together. They were so good together. I don't mean it's underrated. That's probably just something I don't see on my timeline. Underrated. Okay, I haven't got a good answer for it. I'm going to circle back to that. Give me some time to think that. Right, that's a very good question. Too good for my current state, clearly. You think there's any chance Dwayne wins the Oscar with his Mark Kerr movie? Anything's possible. It would be pretty insane, but anything's possible. What tier gets me the more Manny Hulbert tags? So Manny will probably most be featured on It Used to Be Better because the retro Grinlongs he's generally going to be on. I'm going to try and get him on all of them. So Manny will be most featured there. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, that would be the case. There you go. Head Cesaro's on Rev Pro. So that would be a good one for the Casino Gauntlet. What makes a good, bad, or great title reign in your opinion? Well, firstly, there's always that secret sauce, right? Some guys just carry the belt a certain way and feel like the world's champion. I mean, that's just the reality of it. It's one of those things that doesn't show up on like a skill chart, but you just when someone has it, you notice it. That's the secret sauce. Beyond that, I think obviously you want great wrestling matches. That goes without saying, but I think more important than that, especially nowadays, I think you want personal issues, right? I think now with how wrestling's trending, I think it's pretty apparent. Like that's more important to the audience, I think. So rather than just a great match for great match's sake, which I mean I'm totally fine with, I think people want rivalries they can sink their teeth into because those are the ones that convince people the title's going to change. You know, like the best example being that as a wrestling fan, I loved the stuff Cody did with AJ. But it's apparent a lot of the audience was kind of ready to see him do something more substantial because they didn't buy a match for match's sake like the Leon one was going to be a title change. So I think conflicts is important. I think length is the ultimate key though in both directions. I think sometimes people they look back at these NWA champions and they don't, they don't realize that like you can't do that one-to-one comparison. With how much TV there is now, a 1 year title reign is very, very different to a 1 year title reign in 1978. Like you can't compare those two things. It's like 3 years, in the ratio would be. So I think Lemp's key. Like I think if Max ends his title reign, say MJF loses at Wembley Stadium, just say, because that would open up other issues, but just say, I think people think fondly of his reign, but I think, they'd decided it was going to be this year plus saga. And in the end, I think to the reign's detriment. So I think length in terms of knowing when the right time is. I also think it's important to be open to adjusting when people get hot. And another thing that makes a great champion is versatility. If you go back and watch Kenny Omega's matches as AEW champion, he wrestled Jack Perry very, very differently to the way he would wrestle, Moxley, right? Very, very differently. And in that match, in the Jack Perry match, he was almost able to play like a bit of a flare cover, it felt like. So versatility is also key. All right. There is Hurt Syndicate talk. I think they're going to debut much sooner than this, to be honest. I think they'll be in pretty soon. I could be wrong, though. All right. There's some Rick Starks talk in the chat. Joe, what matches are you excited for on the weekend? Me personally is Hechicero and Zack Sabre Jr. I want to see the Casino Gauntlet live because I think that's going to be awesome live. I think the stadium setting is going to make that even cooler than it already is. So that one for sure. Dragon and Swerve because, Final Countdown, things of that nature. Mariah and Tony because I think they've had the best build. That's probably, like, for me personally, the ones I'd circle, I think. I think the build for the show has been really good. There's not a ton on it that like I'm like desperate to see, but I think the show's going to be great. So I'm excited to be there once it feels like it's come around really quick, which is silly because they've been advertising it for like 10 years, it feels like. But what do you think is a better name for Lashley, MVP, and Shelton? Hurt Syndicate or Beatdown Clan? Fuck it, let's just do Beatdown Clan. It's one of the funniest names ever, but let's just do it. Yeah, why not, right? No one even knows what happened with Beatdown Clan back in the day. No comment on media rights and any falling outs and such. No comment. So this is the thing. This is an interesting question. At that stage, you can be a legend playing the hits, or you can be a Jericho or Undertaker and kill your legacy, try to be what you used to be. This is regarding Punk. I do think, and I'm not trying to speak out of turn. I understand everyone feels so strongly about Punk that I honestly don't even really like talking about him anymore, even though he's like an all-time wrestler that I enjoy watching because, everything. It does feel like a lot of people have like convinced themselves that the character he played in 2011 is like the real dude. And he was other guys too. Like it's work, like, I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm not even going to get into it. I'm leaving that there. But yeah, I agree with your point. All right. Which wrestlers is the Yeet Man going to beat in this IC title tournament that will pop for and Twitter will get very mad? Hopefully he runs it back and beats Ilya again. Pete Dunne, hopefully. And I like Dragon Lee, so I'm going to say Dragon Lee. He can beat Cross, and then we can all be happy about that, right? That'll be his run. The Shane O'Mac win the casino gimmick. Oh, God, I hope not. I hope he's not in that, legitimately. That'd be very unfortunate. Ebo, I reviewed Randall and Ludacris. In my review will pop you, I promise. Most likely match to overachieve at Wemb. FTR, bro, and no one gives a fuck about that match. It's probably going to be awesome, let's be honest. It's probably going to be great. Let's be real. It's the FTR at Wembley. They're going to swing for the fences. Triple threat tag. There's going to be some cute ideas that the Bucks come up with. Yeah, fuck, why not? I've decided I'm going to overcorrect on the tag title dismay and just pretend I'm into it. I'm locked in, folks. Locked in. Hopefully they go an hour. That was a joke. Thoughts on 2015 Hiroshi Tanahashi, among the most perfect wrestlers to have ever existed. His match with AJ in the G1 in 2015 is one of my favorite matches ever. I did review Trap. My opinion on it was much lower than yours, unfortunately. I'm sorry to say. I hope I haven't let you down in that regard. Is 2015 TNA worth my time? No, it's not. Certainly not. There we go, brother. See you in Vegas. Should be fun. All right. How long do you think the gauntlet goes over under 20? I think over under 30. I think I'd go under and say I think it goes around 20. I think. All right. This is a good idea, Tope, Inspector Hob. We'll circle back to this time. This is a good idea. Been very busy, but it's a good idea. Tope Suicida has many good ideas, to be fair to him. He's honestly he's the strongest graduate of the Young Lions out of nowhere. We was never particularly impressed by his leapfrogs or his drop down tackles, but you can't argue with results, folks. Underrated pairing. This is a good one. Big Roman and Paul White. That's a good one. I like when the chat has better answers than I do. I appreciate that. Helps me out a lot. Yeah, this is very funny. A quick segment. Okay, two things I want to talk about quickly. Number one, Twitch is very funny, and because we're affiliates, we can't I can't just delete the channel. I have to contact them. So this is something I'm going to say on Friday. If you're watching this, remind me on Friday. Please unsubscribe from our Twitch. We will not be doing streams. I do not want you spending money on a legitimately dead channel. We're probably just going to leave it like alive. Physically, it's not going to be down because I just think it's probably not worth the hassle. We might as well just leave it there, and eventually they'll take our thing away and we can close it. But take your subscription off. I don't want people subscribing so it doesn't do show, especially we're about to do gold. Anyone who's watched me before knows I don't really like the fact that I did that is enough for me. I don't need people doing that too. It makes me feel awful. So, unsubscribe on Twitch. That's the first thing. Second thing, what Mr. Big Dude 912 brings up. We did the Grin Grappler last month, and at the end we came to the conclusion we were going to do the Alexa Shane 1-2 punch. Right? Shane obviously is going to be next year, start of next year. But when we did it, right afterwards, I went to Cage Match and I hit sort by rating, right? And it had an 8.4 at the time. It was higher. It's gone down now because someone has seen it and reined it in a little bit with a 6, I think. But it's Carmella, Charlotte, and Alexa on a SmackDown. I have no memory of this match. I'm not sure I've ever seen it. And it now has an 8 on Cage Match. And that is in the second act of Grin Grappler. Speaking of such, I want to be brief on this because I received some messages. 2 messages, in fact. One of which was, your usual fare, fuck this and the rest of it. And the other one was more concerned and was, I think, rooted in sincerity. And they may be watching this show now, so I'm not going to be, I'm just using this as a context tool. Folks, we are going to do Grin Grappler for as long as we have microphones. And as long as there's anyone, even there's no one watching, we're going to be doing Grin Grappler. We are going to encounter wrestlers of all sorts. At no point was that show intended to just be a collection of the greatest wrestlers ever. Every wrestler has a different story. I did not realize that doing an episode about Alexa Bliss would be alarming for some of you, 2 of you, to be fair. Really more likely 1 of you. But I just would like to know that it'll be okay. There's 6 matches. 5 of them are probably going to be the solid 3-star deal that we've come to know and love from the professional wrestling game. And we'll just broadly talk about the Alexa Bliss story. I promise it'll be okay. I promise we're not going to do some sort of heinous destruction to your beloved Grin Grappler, folks. We have a good idea. We know what we're doing. The Shane thing was also a bit, so we understood that people would have fun with that. I was not prepared for people to be kind of heated about it, to be honest. But I do want to stress, Grin Grappler is grappler is not a literal indication. They're a technical grappler. Right? They're just wrestlers. It's basically all it is. I want to do a Yokozuna episode at some point. I don't fucking know what matches we're going to do for that, but I want to do it. It was Yokozuna. He was cool as hell, So We did 3 hours on Luger, like obviously Lex Luger has better match color than Alexa Bliss, but you get my point, folks. You understand what I'm getting at here. All right. It was yeah, it caught me off guard. So I wanted to just say that and I don't know. Hopefully hopefully you like the episode. I don't know. All right. All right. Let me scroll up. Where is Tanahashi on your GOAT list? I'm certain that if he was in the same physical condition now as he was in his 2010s, TKO make him AEW champ. Yeah, maybe that's interesting. He would be very, very high. I think the world of him. I think his work is superb, but more than that, his significance and his story and his importance to New Japan and therefore his importance to wrestling, I think makes him an absolute surefire candidate. I'm always hesitant on the GOAT stuff because I'm not as well versed as many folks that are out there, including Oracle. And I know he's not like a huge fan by any means. A lot of the pure fans and the kind of message board folks was kind of reluctant to accept Tanahashi, which I understand because he was very different to the traditional ace and kind of westernized the style. But for me, he was the guy who kept me watching. I just think he's an all-time wrestling genius. Hello, Joe. How would you feel if Hangman used a gauntlet win to cash in on Dragon after main event? I'm anti cash in. I just think I would not. I'd never do a cash in. I understand why people want this particular one. I get it. I understand it. You're entitled to do your thing, but the cash in thing I think is so overdone, and it's overdone by the other company. Just leave it. That's just me personally. This is a good answer. Riley said an overhead pairing is Brett and Sean. There is like a myth, and I think it's because the people want to make the Montreal thing even more like sexy than it already is. Like that they had these classic matches, and it's just not really true at all. There wasn't really a natural fit opposite each other at all. So yeah. Who are some names you'd like to see in the Continental Classic? Would you expand the tournament from 12 to 16? I would. We definitely need Roddy in there. We definitely need Darby in there. We definitely need the Beast Maltos in there. And just for me only, and even though he probably shouldn't do it physically, we can also slide Dax the Axe in there for my own personal enjoyment. All right. What do we got here? After Robbie Lawler's appearance on Monday, have you officially moved to the Red Brand? Not yet. Not yet. Still got Uncle Alan up our sleeve. All right. Shane O'Mac talk. Is Bobby Lashley the first wrestler that you shorten their name, Bob Lash? I don't know, man. I'm real fucking dumb. I do that a lot. Coulson, the great move wanting Omos in Japan. He should. The crowd would go absolutely nuts for him. I mean, obviously, once he starts wrestling, it'd probably cool off, but it would get a great reaction. And they book far worse. They should do that. TNA 2015 praise in our chat. Respect. All right. Remember Oracle saying Paul White and Hogan had no bad matches? What an absolute god. How do you rebuild the AEW tag division? When Jay returns, I have him back with Juice, Kyle O'Reilly with Roddy as a heel team. Both of those are good moves. But the real answer, Darren, as you know and I know, is, of course, that the FTR simply win the world's tag team titles and never lose them. No, I think the key thing really is you have to actually have a roadmap for elevating the underneath teams. You have to pick one. You can't keep just having everyone in the same spot for it. You have to just pick a team you want to elevate. Ideally multiple teams, but at least one. And it could be whoever you want it to be. I have no issue. Like you have to elevate a team now. It's been too long. So yeah. That would be my call. Guys, I'm not even trying to make light of it because it was someone. I think their intentions were good, but someone was very worked up about the Green Grotto thing, and they feared that the show was going to be ruined. And then I didn't want to. I just don't. I don't think that's that deep. I think it's going to be okay. I don't know. Maybe it will. Maybe it's going to fucking suck. I don't know. I haven't done it yet. Maybe it'll be terrible. Maybe it'll be terrible. Um, yeah, this is the other thing is like I think that I think the matches that we've picked are like going to be like pretty good match. They are pretty good. I've seen them. You know, the damage control matches are good. Brainbuster, shout out Brainbuster, who's Grap's podcast is very popular. I hear he says talking about a less covered wrestler like Alexa is genuinely much more interesting than just pumping out regurgitated content on wrestlers that have been covered ad nauseum. Good look at that. Good brand work there, Brainbuster. Yeah, I think every wrestler who has reached any kind of national acclaim and status, I think there's always an interesting story, and everyone's story is different. We're all going to feel differently about the wrestlers. That's the charm of this stuff, you know. I think there's an increasing trend of everything has to be so severe and everyone has to tick every box. And it's like that's what makes wrestling fun, you know. It's like some people are going to suck at stuff, and some people are going to be good at other things. You know, that's part of. We don't want them to be robots who are trying to be all rounders and copy like their entire vibe from other people. Like wrestlers, we want them to be individuals with strengths, weaknesses, and I think every wrestler's story is intriguing in its own way. To me, anyway. When we did the Lex Luger episode, we talked. My conclusion on Lex was I think if you played out his career 10 times, I think we might have got the worst version of it, which is crazy considering the money he made and the star that he was. But I think Lex could have produced much better work if things had gone differently. They didn't. They went the way they went, but that's interesting to me. Bam Bam. Bam Bam Bigelow, our third act for Bam Bam, was him wrestling hardcore hack in WCW, and it was fucking awesome. But I don't think it was what he envisioned himself doing at that point, at that point in the game. Yeah, I think wrestling's good. Is my point. Is Mercedes and Baker more likely to underachieve, overachieve, or just sort of be there to move the show along? I have some concerns it could end up a real stinker, unfortunately. It feels like a roll of the dice. Mercedes is so brilliant. I think she'll have something up her sleeve. I'm going to say overachieve and be optimistic. That's what I'm going to say. We'll see, though. It could definitely go either way. Definitely. Could LNG Gold members get a Hulbert live reaction highlight video of All In? I don't know if I can ever be the guy that pulls his phone out in the middle of the. I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't know if I could ever do that, unfortunately. All right, I'm going to try and hurry up a little bit here. We're almost there. Couple super chats. Cole, Alex Wright, Grin Grappler, when? Look, I'd love to do Alex Wright. Speaking of an interesting story, I don't know if people are aware. Thanks for the super chat, Cole. But it's like he's kind of lost, I think, now to time how much they wanted to push Alex Wright. Ric Flair fucking loved Alex Wright. He thought he was going to be like the next big thing for World Champion. If you go back and watch like the end of 94 through 95, a little bit of 95, I think, they were all in. They were so locked in. And then he ends up becoming like he's just a guy on the card. But Alex Wright, there's a section of fans online, when I talk about the message board fans, there's a section that will swear by and live and die by Alex Wright's work in WCW. I like some of it. I've never been as big a fan as some folks, though. Like, there's people that will tell you he was like their premier underneath guy, mid-card guy. So I'd love to do an Alex Wright show. I'm sure Oracle's a fan, almost certainly. So, hell yeah. Also, Super Chat, Riley, listen, we should only be mad at the Alexa Grin Grappler because no Team Little Big made the list. Well, I should know, Contrarian Alex campaigned. He wanted to do a brawl tag, that's kind of a lost thing that was really popular. He wanted to do it. Right, the reason it didn't happen was because unfortunately that's like the part of her career that's most significant, I guess, right? So we had to be serious, quote unquote, for that act. Rewatching the 2015 G1 in the context of today is fascinating. Tanahashi, Shibata, Okada, AJ Ibushi, Ishii, Goto, Shinsuke, all at their primes, unreal roster, and Naito debuts the Destino on AJ. A great G1, and Gallows is in there too, which you must have forgotten. The actual thing about 2015 that we all want to forget, but is true, is that Michael Elgin, like, he turned heads in that tournament. It was crazy. That was like a big thing at the time. Michael Elgin really surprised people in the G1. And then he got a gig out there, and then things changed. Okay. Do you think Mercedes wearing the Kiss style clown boots makes Camille look less intimidating? It doesn't bother me, to be honest, because my main concern with Camille is how her offense looks most of the time. So, you know, it's not something I'm sweating. Where is Kenny Omega in your 2010s rankings? I haven't seen a ton of his first half of the decade. The second half of the decade he's one of the best wrestlers ever, I think. So he would be up there for sure. I have to think about it. It's hard because there's some guys that I've seen the whole decade of. That comment is awesome, Evie, but I'm not going to put it on the screen because someone will screenshot it. But it popped me. Popped me very, very much. Right, I'm gonna hurry here a little bit because I am past my intended time of departure. Folks, please do hit the thumbs up on this gimmick. Please hit the thumbs up. We're doing the YouTube membership, by the way, because I've had some questions. I think I did a poor job explaining. The YouTube membership is where the LNG gold stuff happens. So next to subscribe, it will be join, basically. All right. There we go. Got some Grin grappler hype going. All right. Colt said, I was an 11-year-old who loved Alex Wright. Still do. Respect. Respect. Joey Bing Bong, please tell me your thoughts on Steamboat vs. Macho Man. I like it a lot. I think it's a product of its time, and I think it's a very good professional wrestling match. But I think the reason it is received the way it was received, and the reason it's remembered the way it's remembered, is because of the surrounding matches. It was. I don't think it's among Ricky Steamboat's like top. There's a lot of Ricky Steamboat matches I'd have above it, but what the matches I'd have above it, it doesn't matter because ultimately the point is that audience hadn't seen that kind of thing before. They hadn't seen that kind of pace before. Broadly talking here, generally talking, and it was striking, and it just so happened to be on the biggest wrestling show in all of time at that point. So it's a very particular set of circumstances. I think it's a very good match, very, very good. But if you're looking for the best of Steamboat, to me, it's like a glance at what he was capable of. I don't think it captures it all, by any means. I'd actually argue the same for Savage, even, but I'd be less bullish on that just because, as much as I love Savage, I don't think his top end stuff would be. I wouldn't compare it to Steamboat because the Flair Steamboat stuff is. I mean, good lord. Would you have KO, Cody, or Drew Punk open Berlin? KO and Cody for me. Thoughts on Rick Rude, one of my all-time favorites. One of the greatest heels in wrestling history. A fascinating story in that I think, we talk about the way history kind of bunches these things together. I think in history, Rick Rude is like deemed as he was an elite worker, and he was an elite worker, but he was an elite worker for a very short period of time. Now, don't get me wrong, I love Rick Rude in the late 80s. He's great. He's a great character. And he did some great stuff with Warrior, which was, honestly, I mean, his work with Warrior was very impressive. But Rick Rude clicks when he arrives in WCW at the end of 91 and then through for about a year. Once he gets injured, it's over. He's never the same after that. But Rick Rude is an all-time heel, and his prime is spectacular. One of the best wrestlers I've seen at his prime. Again, short prime, but a great prime nonetheless. All right. I'm now going to Rice Man's correct. LNG Gold, August 27th. Big business. All right, I'm going to do some plugs. If you have any final questions, I haven't seen enough Sol Ruka to comment on this. I'm not sure. Any final questions? Thoughts on Brock Lesnar, the performer? All timer, Brock was great. Absolutely, he was great. Joe, I heard you say you think Dwayne's going to win the belt. And sorry, how would that work? Wouldn't it make more sense to just have Rock and Cody headline Rumble, Rock win, and then Roman win at Mania? They could do that. Yeah, absolutely. I think all these things are possible. I just think Rock is definitely getting that belt because he is one of the funniest people on earth. Who wins the 2015 Cena versus Tanahashi match if you're booking it? Oh, Tana's winning with a big high fly flow, brother. Absolutely. Rude and this is a good call, yes. And that helps Rick a lot in terms of being as a young guy. That the tag run definitely helped a lot. All right. Rest of the year right now is I have no idea. No clue. Who's the favorite? Danielson, I guess, again? It feels boring, but I guess. All right, plugs. This Friday, the Late Night Grin, episode 1, 2, 3. We're going to be talking AEW All In. Wembley Stadium is our focus. Myself, Novi, Dukes, the confirmed shoot, temperature checks, all of the above, breaking down each match. It's going to be a great, great time. Excited for that. Before that, though, I have some other All In previews. I almost had more, but I still have a couple others. I have Wrestle Hook, Grinner. Shout out Wrestle Hook. I'm doing their show tomorrow at 8 Eastern. I'm also doing True Hill Heat on Friday at some point. So if you really like pay-per-view previews, I will have 3 of them in which I say the exact same thing. So you're in luck. I have something coming up elsewhere too, which I will not announce because that's very funny and it'll pop you guys once it emerges. So yeah, that's going out. And then Tuesday is Green Grappler Alexa Bliss. Sorry for the short turnaround on that. There's a lot going on and I forgot to lock the list in until like this week. So I apologize for that. All right. But the big thing, of course, August 27th, LNG Gold. All right, folks. Okay. Just a heads up, Joe, I know you can't sign up to YouTube memberships on iPhone. Sometimes you may need to tell people how. Yes, I'll figure out the logistics on this. We may even do a show where, like, we might do like a launch party show, I think. You know, like where we go, and then we can all figure out together as a family. All right, we'll see. This has been the Hulbert House Show. Please like the video. Please leave a comment below. That helps us out. Comment something. I don't know. Comment like a casino goal. Just comment something. I don't know, folks. Help me out, please. It's a big thing, apparently. Do that. Like the video. Subscribe. Have a great night. Enjoy Dynamite. Support Novi. He's going live in 1 hour and 20 minutes for his own show. And, yeah. Watch the Graps podcast when it drops too. All right. Have a good day. Keep grinning. All hell. Enjoy this outro, folks.